guys, it's AJ. So I really just wanted to create a quick video and kind of go a little bit more in depth on kind of what our program is and what we actually provide. And the biggest, I guess, question, thought, or concern is that clients always say, this sounds too good to be true. And sometimes they'll say, AJ, is this a scam? How does this all work? And quite frankly, whenever I work with clients, a lot of clients have been, introduced or even marketed on Facebook or Instagram, YouTube, or other search engines. And there's a lot of organizations out there that claim that they can help them get access to funding. And quite frankly, they want to receive some sort of nominal amount before they'll help them. And that's completely crazy, completely illegal. Federal Trade Commission regulates that, and they talked about that as an advance fee for a loan. And you should never pay up front for a loan or anything like that. That's really insane. And so quite frankly, our program is designed whenever we work with a client, they'll sign up for free, which is excellent. No credit card, even social security card required. And quite frankly, what we'll do is we'll be able to get them access to this app. And this app is a really amazing resource for clients so they can do this themselves. Because quite frankly, you should be able to repair your own credit. You should be able to develop your own business plan. You should be able to provide your own assets as collateral for the SBA. And you should be able to apply for funding on your own. So I'm going to quickly kind of overview the app since it's new and updated. And I kind of want to show you guys kind of what we do here. So we have a couple of YouTube videos and allows clients to see how we can work with them if they want us to do this for them or even with them. And this is a bunch of available resources here. That way you kind of see it themselves. As you guys know, I hold a master's in healthcare administration. I have 3 degrees. And my real big specialty is actually to assist clients in getting a large capital raise. The largest capital raise I've ever assisted with was a $50 million capital raise for UT Healthy's Texas Athens, based right outside the Dallas area. And I helped them get about $50 million for both property and expansions and in order to kind of build out their emergency room. And it's a really cool idea because we're following the same exact methodology that we're doing with clients. It comes down to credit, cash flow, and collateral. And quite frankly, a lot of clients can do this themselves, but there are some clients that prefer someone else to do it for them or even with them. Whenever we break this down, generally speaking, if we're looking to get access to credit cards, lenders are looking at credit alone, right? They normally want a 700 or higher score. I know I have competitors out there that will say, hey, if you have a 700 or higher score, I can help you get 0% interest funding. And some of them will do credit repair to bring you up, and they'll charge you up front. I think that's really insane. You should be able to repair your own credit and apply for your own credit cards, and that's what's available in this resource for free. Sometimes lenders are looking at cash flow in order to provide a loan. This is traditional MCA loans or even term loans, and they normally want the last 4 months of bank statements. If you don't have the cash flow that supports the loan, generally speaking, you want to look at collateral. So generally we look at credit, then cash flow, and then collateral. Collateral is a great resource because the SBA allows us to get access to funding without a minimum sort of requirement. So we're going to go and break that down a little bit deeper here in a second. But whenever we work with clients, quite frankly, we go over into funding fulfillment and we pull up the SBA's website. This is the best resource here in order to kind of apply for funding, especially if you're going to do this yourself. If we were to pull up statistics of the SBA, 40% of all loans funded are over $2 million. It's on the SBA's website, and you're able to actually see that and understand that that's a resource that is available. On top of that, if you were to look at other statistics, over 80% of all corporations or C Corps are actually funded from the SBA. So they do fund sole proprietors and that sort of thing. But generally speaking, you need to be either a corporation or a C Corp in order to get access to funding with the SBA. But just remember, half of all businesses that are applying with the SBA are considered startups. So they either are pre-revenue or less than 2 years old, and that's generally how the SBA defines a startup. But the reason why I'm telling you this is because a lot of clients that I talk to are pre-revenue. They want funding. They might not have a business that's cash flowing yet. The SBA is probably the only non-predatory resource that I know of that has government-backed funds, low interest rates, and it's easy to, quite frankly, get match and approved lenders. But if you use the lender match system yourself, you describe your needs, you get matched as soon as 2 days, talk to lenders, and apply for a loan. What you would do here, quite frankly, before you do apply, and this is where we're coming into the discussion, is we're going to help you build out a loan package. We need to make sure we have a business plan. And there's a lot of individuals inside this industry, or even skepticism. You need to make sure you have a plan before you get large amounts of funding. Some people say you have no business starting a business, but I think otherwise. We just need to make sure we have a business plan so we know exactly what we're using the funding for, both qualitatively and quantitatively, what we're going to be able to do and provide for financial projections to show the capacity to pay back that loan. I'll go more in depth here in a minute on that because we do have some available resources, but just remember, generally speaking, you need to have a business plan. We can do this for you. You can do it yourself. I'll show you those resources here in a second. The SBA is also really cool because there's 1,000 lenders on the platform, including 260 community-based lenders. Remember, they don't have a specific credit score requirement. We offer free credit repair. You can do it yourself for free, or we can do it for you through our program. It's really up to you. They do want some industry experiences, what the SBA refers to as character. You need to make sure that you have a resume that's built up to support your business plan. The SBA is allowing us to get access to funding, as you can see, with financial projections versus bank statements and tax returns. We need to make sure that we show confidence in our model that an underwriter or a lender is willing to take that risk and extend $100,000 up to $5.5 million for your business idea. We need to make sure that we have collateral. Generally speaking, whenever we look at collateral, it comes down to a couple of things. Generally speaking, they define collateral as an additional form of security, which is going to be assure a lender that you have a second source of loan or payment. All those possible sources like equipment, like your car, a building like a home, or even account receivables, all those possible sources of loan or payment are actually be sold by the bank for cash. So if you defaulted, you need to make sure that you have a second source of loan or payment, especially if you're considered high risk, especially if you're doing bank statements or tax returns. I do have this pulled up on the screen. What it is, it's an SBA document that I have pulled up. We're partnering with the SBA through their Learning Center, and they talk about the different sources of funding. So I just want to kind of highlight that a little bit more in depth. Generally speaking, we look at the 3 C's to get access to funding, and then we categorize the type of funding source that we can access. Credit for lines of credit and credit cards, cash flow for term loans and MCA, and the collateral with the SBA. Generally speaking, the SBA wants a couple more C's. Capacity is on your business plan. They state it's the highest reason on the list. Lenders want to know, can you repay back the loan, especially those financial projections. We are going to build out those financial projections to show that you have the capacity to take on that loan. Say, for example, if we were to pull up an example of a business plan that we've created for a client, we look at the target market and the competition. We also look at the financial forecast and the financing uses of funds and the projected P&L. We look at the projected balance sheet and cash flow statements and other appendices, but this is important for the SBA. We build this out for clients with our program, and that way we can show the underwriter that we're serious and we know what we're talking about, and we have the capacity to pay back that loan. But on a separate document, we're going to show the capacity that your business has to pay back that loan. We look at revenue, we look at direct cost, we look at expenses, we look at financing, we look at projected P&L over the next 2 years. We look at the projected balance sheet. We look at the projected cash flow, projected revenue over the next 2 years. This is important for the underwriters to understand. As you can see, these range about 30 pages, but we need to provide this to the bank in order to show that your business will have the ability to pay back this loan. So just kind of keep that in mind. Capacity is important. If you want a larger loan, your business model needs to support the capacity to pay back that loan. Capital is another reason or another idea that we can go into. Have you already invested money into your business? Of course, our program has a refundable deposit, but the lender is going to ask, hey, have you put any skin or any of your own skin into the game for your business and your business model? So, of course, we have a refundable deposit. They're also going to be looking if you've ever invested any of your own gains into the business. The bank also wants to know what you're using as collateral. We'll provide debt sellers as licensed, bond and insured to provide the assets as collateral, as you can see here with the Secretary of State. But we need to make sure that we're licensed, or quite frankly, that we have the collateral necessary for the loan. So they define it as something that the bank is going to use to recoup in case you can't repay back the loan. So that's kind of important to understand and kind of remember. Conditions. Conditions is also going to be on your business plan, right? Is the market ready for whatever that you're introducing, right? If you're going into retail, or if you have a t-shirt business, if you're going to consulting or tow truck, we need to see kind of what your competition is. And if it's hyper competitive, quite frankly, we probably don't want to form that. Generally, whenever we're working with a client, we like advising to go into consulting just because it's considered low risk and there's not a whole lot of competition within that space. Character, they want to know if you're trustworthy, right? So we pledge with clients and show that they have the character. We'll build out the resume and let them know exactly kind of what we're looking at as a qualified candidate to get access to funding. Generally speaking, the SBA talks about different sources of funding that you can get access to. And of course, you could do this yourself or work with us. Generally, if you're looking with families and friends, there are some advantages here, but there also are some disadvantages. There are traditional banks that you can get access to, but generally speaking, these aren't government backed. These don't have that lower interest rate. There are online banks and even credit unions you can get access to, and look at that. There's even credit cards like a lot of my competitors will provide. Of course, you can easily get qualified for these. Just remember, these are going to have a higher annual interest rate. You're not going to be able to purchase everything with a credit card, right? And there are some security issues with using a credit card. But this does build credit if you manage it appropriately. And of course, there's other types of funding options such as SBA, which is what we really like bringing out to the table. Quite frankly, because we have SBA 7A, 7A small loans, SBA Express, and quite frankly some other loans. But we can get up to $5 million with the SBA using the Lender Match portal, which is what we're preparing a client for. And there are some other veteran benefits, etc., microloans, even 504 for real estate. So, of course, you could definitely look through this document. If you need it, we can definitely provide it. Just remember the SBA does break this down a little bit more in depth, right? They want to make sure that you're prepared for loan underwriting before you actually apply, right? So, some of the things that they're going to be looking at with a business loan, for example, they're going to look at the purpose, the amount, the maturity, the repayment, what you're going to be using as collateral, and then the business description. This is something that will help out with you. Business plan is an important aspect, right? We're doing this with and even for clients. This is the most biggest portion of applying for the SBA. We need to make sure that we have a business plan on file, regardless if we're applying for no-doc credit cards or even no-doc SBA loans, right? We need to make sure that we have other financial documents. For example, we prepare cash flow statements. We'll prepare balance sheets, income statements, and even your PFS. This is something that we all do within our program, and it's provided even with our 4-week program or even if we're using a shelf corp to get access to funding. And of course, you'll definitely want to be able to look through and kind of make sure you ensure that your business loan agreement is up to your satisfaction. And this is something that we can negotiate for a client. For example, the loan amount, the interest rate, the type of interest, and other fees. This is important to kind of take into consideration, right? But generally speaking, the SBA is the best source of funding that I know of. But if we were looking outside of that, there are some credit cards that we can get access to. You could apply right after this video if you wanted to. But just remember that SBA is the best source of funding, especially if you don't have the credit or the cash flow that's necessary for traditional credit cards or traditional loans. But generally our solution is going after, we're doing this for you or even with you, right, depending on what solution you do. We need to make sure that we have lines of credit, equipment financing, SBA loans, real estate, and even AR financing. All these are great resources. I've gotten access to every single one of these. So I'm a real testament and can show you that this is possible. But generally speaking, whenever we work with clients, even on a daily basis, we have clients that are matched on a daily basis in order to get access to funding or even get matched with lenders. But as you kind of saw, you could do this yourself. You could definitely do it for free. We don't sell a course. We don't sell the information. We give it to you all for free. It's just if you want me to do something for you, generally what we need to make that decision is we're going to buy or build a fundable business. So that's kind of what you see on the screen behind me. And that's kind of what we have on the screen in front of you. We need to figure out your business plan, right? We already kind of talked about the specifics of that, and it generally takes about a week for us to generate that. In step 2, we're either going to form a new business or even provide a shelf corp. And the reason why is we need a unique commercial address. We can't apply with a home address or even a P.O. box. We need a unique commercial address. We'll provide those assets as collateral. And generally speaking, the SBA is never going to decline you based off the lack of collateral, but they are going to be looking for all available sources. So you don't want to come to the table looking for $100,000 or more loan and not have any assets. You want to be able to provide at least account receivables through our program or your home or your car. And then generally speaking, as you kind of saw on the SBA's website, this is a great resource. We're going to get matched as soon as 2 days. You can talk to lenders and they do same-day funding. And so that's a really great aspect. Collateral is an important aspect of the SBA, which is why we provide it. But just remember, never pay upfront for a loan. Of course, if you're paying for mentorship, that's on you. I kind of disagree with paying for mentorship. But generally, our program is set up and defined to assist you with several different elements. We need that lender-compliant business plan. It's very complex. If you were to go out into the marketplace and ask for a business plan, it's somewhere between $3,000 to $4,000. I think that's a fair pricing. Our program is set up, quite frankly, where you either pay a $1,000 deposit for a shelf corp, and it has all the necessary elements that are listed on our side and the SBA's website, or we can help you build it from scratch, and we charge about a $500 deposit, just so we can filter out who's serious versus not. I don't want to spend a whole lot of time or energy with anyone that isn't serious. We also need a commercial lease, and of course, if you're going to do this yourself, you can go pay for a commercial lease. These range from a couple hundred to a few $1,000s per month if you're going to go get your own commercial lease. Of course, we provide that for free for a perpetual time. Remember, you need a compliant business entity. So if you do have an entity that's over 2 years old, generally speaking, the SBA wants tax returns and bank statements and that sort of thing. We also need to make sure there's no UCC liens or anything like that on your existing entity. Generally speaking, we're going to provide a new entity or a shelf corp. That's what we do, just kind of simplify it. Remember, you need a dollar for dollar match on assets. We'll provide those assets through our program, so you don't have to pledge your home or your car. But just remember, you need assets. So if you're doing this yourself, you're going to pledge your home or your car. If you're working with us, we'll provide account receivables, and that's part of our program. And remember, there's a lot of financial statements that we kind of had listed on the SBA's resource. We do that for you, so you don't have to do that yourself. And then on top of that, we need credit worthiness, right? Credit worthiness is an important aspect, especially if you have less than a 450 score. We provide that free credit repair. And if you want access to lines of credit or equipment, that's something we can help you out with our credit repair offering. But just remember, we do have that option of using a shelf corp that's ready for funding, quite frankly, right now. If we wanted to do that, I'll pull up the link now. But generally speaking, what we would do, just make that decision. Do we want to buy or build a fundable business? Generally speaking, if we're using a shelf corp, it is set up in SIC code 8742. I generally have one of these available at a time. You would be the listed as 100% owner. It already has that business plan, which is the most important aspect of the SBA. It already has a commercial address. It comes with free mail forwarding. It already has a business website. It already has a branded email account. It already has business financials. It already has a balance sheet with 100,000 of assets listed on it. It already has the P&L. It literally is ready for funding right now. We put your name on it. Take about 2 days to get that done, 2 days to get matched. We should be looking at funding within a week. And of course, we have our contract for the 4-week program. Generally speaking, we get started with this for a $500 deposit, and we get started with the shelf corp for a $1,000 deposit. It's a little bit more because it's already put together, but that's generally what we would charge. And of course, you could do this yourself, as I was mentioning before. It's kind of my tangent. The real scam is paying upfront for a loan. you need a loan package, you could do it yourself, or I could do it for you or even with you. But I have a free app that will develop all that for you. So, and of course, I have some clients, quite frankly, that want to become educators. They'll go and get funding with us. We have about 250 educators across the nation. They'll go and conduct workshops with churches and chambers and different libraries or universities. You can sign up as an educator for free with our app. We have all the funding fulfillment that goes into credit cards and SBA, and of course there's an ability or a little ton of different aspects to getting term loans or MCA. You could Google any one of those and just apply with your bank statements. And of course, if you wanted to go through the credit repair, I have all the aspects here. I do this for clients all the time. But if you wanted to do it yourself, the credit bureaus want you to know that you have the right to do it yourself. I have all the links pulled up for you to quite frankly do it yourself. And of course, if you wanted to advertise for us, I do have our proven ads and other marketing tips. And then if you wanted to go in and develop your own business plan, you definitely can. You can sign up for the SBA's Learning Dashboard, and they'll walk you through disaster economic recovery, strategic marketing, your people, the business financial strategy, access to capital, which is those PDFs I pulled up earlier, how to get government contracting, partnerships, entrepreneurial leadership, managing sales, growing globally, opportunities and innovation, opportunity assessment, and then other military pathways. Of course, you could work with us or you could work with the SBA directly. It doesn't matter to me. But if you wanted us to help you with your credit, your cash flow, and your collateral, look at us as a viable option, and I'd be very apprehensive for paying anything up front for a loan. We generally charge a performance fee on the back end, it's around 10%, and that's how we're compensated. But if you guys have any thoughts, questions, or concerns, please let me know. I mean, I'll put my phone number in the chat, or at least in this video. And then as you can see, you can call us on the app or even email us if you have any questions. But I do appreciate you guys for staying on with us. I know it's kind of a little bit of a longer video, but now you know a couple of aspects, right? Never pay up front for a loan. That's the true scam. I would also avoid paying for mentorship or even a protege program. Our program is designed to get you a loan package. We'll do a guaranteed capital raise based off the 3 C's. And generally speaking, if you're not inside the industries of like pornography, if you're not in cannabis or fintech, we should have a guaranteed capital raise. But of course, we can always form a new business outside of those restrictive industries to get access to funding. If you guys have any questions, thoughts, or concerns, please let me know.